which originally affected their relationship with God and their relationship with each other, now has a sociological effect. Now it results in jealousy, hate, and murder. So now sin is beginning to grow and metastasize, and it has a sociological effect. One brother kills his brother. So, on the surface, it looks like death has once again won the day. But look carefully, and you'll see some unusual grace in there. Where do we see grace?
He was marked by the Lord.
The mark of Cain. Interesting. Now, there's been all kinds of interpretations about that. But if you look at it carefully, it was a mark of protection. Cain cried out after he had done this heinous crime. He said, oh God, if someone finds me now, I'm in trouble, and look what I've done. And God says, not so, Cain. And I'm here screaming the whole time as I'm reading this, let him have it, God. Let him have it. And God says, no. I'm going to put a mark on Cain to protect him. It wasn't a mark of curse. It was a mark of protection. And I guess that makes me understand that I don't completely understand grace. I look at people today. I look at a Charles Manson, or I look at someone who's committed a horrible crime against a little child or something like that. And I'm with you. I'm sitting there screaming at the TV, fry him! I mean, I get angry. Don't you? Especially when someone hurts a child. But you know what? Even that person can be forgiven if they cry out in sincerity to the Lord.
That's the kind of grace I have trouble with.
And again, we'll talk all about it when we get to the cross. Because we say, and I'm getting ahead of myself here, but what we say is, okay, yeah, but if you give him mercy, where is justice? I'll tell you where justice is. That's what the cross was all about. What do you think Jesus was suffering? He was paying the penalty. He was going to the electric chair. He was going to the guillotine. He was going to the gallows. He was paying our penalty for us. Justice was satisfied at the cross so that mercy can be extended to even people like that. That's a love that I don't completely understand, but we don't have to understand it. We accept it as a gift. By the way, do you understand love, period? I don't. I don't understand love. But I do know this. It is much more powerful than hate. It is much more powerful than jealousy. It is much more powerful than anything else. I do know that. God is love. I don't think we can believe all the near-death experiences that people have had. I mean, But you know I'm talking about, a near-death experience where they go through the tunnel and they see the light and then they come back. But a common denominator among all of them is this. As they're going through this tunnel, they say, I experienced a love and a peace and a light that's absolutely indescribable. I had a woman at my last church who had an experience like that. And a wonderful godly lady. She told me, she said, Gary, I have absolutely no fear of death whatsoever. So here's a love that could even put a mark of protection on a man who's just murdered someone because he cried out to the Lord. Grace has the final word here, not hate and jealousy and murder. Oh, boy, here's a mysterious chapter. Now we find that sin metastasizes, affects us, and infects us, not only sociological, but physical as well. Oh, by the way, isn't it interesting how Satan lied? He said, oh, if you take that fruit, you won't die. Well, they didn't, right? I mean, they didn't physically die immediately, did they? But he didn't tell them about the spiritual death. And by the way, that's his scheme today. You've heard his voice, and I have too. Oh, just go ahead and do that. Don't worry about it. Your mom and dad won't find out. Just go ahead. Yeah, others might get hurt, but you're not going to get hurt. You go right ahead and do it. Go on. You won't get hurt. You won't be found out. Nothing will happen to you. Did you believe it? Look at chapter 5. In chapter 5, there's a statement that's used over and over and over again like a tolling bell. And what is that statement? What is that phrase? And he died. And he died. Look at it. And he died. Maybe he lived 850 years, but he eventually died. And he died. And he died. So this is the chapter that tells us that Satan ultimately did lie. They might not die right then, but they died later physically. And so in the midst of a chapter that you read and say, yuck,